This is the Washington Times front page for Wednesday, July 13th, 2022. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. President Biden's trip to the Middle East risks getting upstaged by Russian President Vladimir Putin, who's headed to the region directly after Biden for meetings in Iran. Guy Taylor reports the Kremlin announced Putin's visit a day after the Biden administration accused Iran of supplying drones to aid Russia's war in Ukraine. Russian officials said Putin will hold talks with Iranian leaders and Turkish President Recep Erdogan. Erdogan met recently with Biden at a NATO summit and has sought to position himself as a mediator between Russia and Ukraine. Biden's trip begins in Israel and will be followed by a visit to Saudi Arabia. Administration officials said an overall goal of the visits is to promote stronger security coordination between Arab powers and Israel, both of which are hostile toward Iran. Democratic lawmakers making a last-ditch effort to pass a spending bill are now weighing whether to extend pandemic-era Affordable Care Act subsidies to avoid an increase in premiums. Susan Ferricchio reports Senate Democrats negotiating the broad package are under pressure to include additional funding for the subsidies. Democrats approved the subsidies in March of 2021 as part of a $1.9 trillion COVID-19 relief package. Those are set to expire on December 31st. If the subsidies aren't extended, health policy experts say premiums in the 33 states that use Obamacare exchanges will rise by 53% as people begin shopping for new plans in November. Also in the negotiations are money to bolster Medicare, a plan to lower some prescription drug prices, and a slate of clean energy tax credits. The bill would be funded with a 3.8% tax on pass-through business income. Murder charges against a New York bodega worker who stabbed an attacker have put a spotlight on crime in major cities and how minority-owned businesses are increasingly forced to fend for themselves. Francisco Marte, president of the Bodega and Small Business Association, told our Carrie Pickett that crime is driving Hispanic voters away from the Democratic Party. He said New York County District Attorney Alvin Bragg and U.S. Representatives Adriano Espaillat and Nydia Velasquez have been missing in action during the crime wave. Small business owners in New York have been complaining that Bragg's policies are soft on criminals, but the charges against the bodega worker who said he was defending himself have inflamed the misgivings about how laws are enforced. You can read all of these stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page. You can also find the entire lineup of Washington Times podcasts at WashingtonTimes.com/podcasts. The Supreme Court's overturning of Roe v. Wade has supercharged abortion politics before the midterm elections. Seth McLaughlin reports Democrats are humanizing their message to capitalize on the fury following the court's decision. In Maryland, former State Attorney General Candace Hollingsworth, the running mate in Doug Gansler's Democratic primary race for governor, is talking about her abortion experience in a digital ad. A similar dynamic is playing out in the Wisconsin race for the U.S. Senate. Democratic Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes rolled out a television ad this week in which his mother shares her abortion story so others can know they aren't alone. And finally, a scandal engulfing Vietnam's foreign ministry is testing its reliability as a linchpin of an anticipated U.S.-led Asian economic framework. Foreign ministry, tourism, air, medical, and manufacturing officials have been arrested and expelled from the ruling Communist Party in recent weeks. They're accused of pocketing $240 million by defrauding frightened Vietnamese citizens into paying inflated fees for government-arranged COVID-19 repatriation flights and price-fixing emergency health care and equipment. Find all of today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Washington Times in your favorite podcast app. You can find us also on Twitter and Instagram at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.